IVF? Pernah dengar lah sebelum ni.
Okay, saya tahu sikit-sikit je tentang IVF.
Saya rasa saya tahu tapi tak banyak lah.
Ya, saya tahu tentang IVF.
Saya tahu pasal IVF.
IVF tak tahu. Tahu. Saya ada terbaca artikel mengenai IVF.
Saya dapat tahu tentang IVF ni daripada rancangan televisyen yang membincangkan tentang IVF dan daripada video-video doktor pakar sakit puan yang membincangkan tentang IVF.
Tahu tentang IVF ni dari perbualan ibu apa. Ibu apa pernah bercakap tentang IVF ni, mana kawan-kawan ayah mak cakap ada pasangan tak dapat anak, lepas tu diorang cuba nak dapatkan anak menggunakan IVF ni, ataupun satu lagi term IUI tak silap.
Saya tahu daripada internet lah dengan hasil bahan bacaan.
Saya tahu tentang IVF ni daripada sumber bacaan dan sumber bacaan tu saya rujuk beberapa buah buku. Saya juga ada buat carian di internet untuk projek kami CTU.
Bagi saya, IVF ni merupakan salah satu metod untuk mendapatkan anak setelah mencuba pelbagai cara lah, tapi tak berhasil. So doktor-doktor pun telah tidak menemui masalah sebenar, kesuburan sepasang suami isteri. So doktor pun galakkan untuk mengikuti teknik IVF lah untuk pasangan yang ingin mendapatkan anak.
Setahu saya IVF tu pasal ikhtiar suami isteri nak dapatkan anak tapi melalui tabung uji.
IVF ni dilakukan apabila perempuan tu tak boleh mengandung secara normal ataupun dia dah kira tunggu untuk mengandung selama beberapa tahun tetapi masih tidak mengandung. Jadi mereka memerlukan rawatan IVF ni untuk membolehkan mereka mengandung lah. Tetapi selepas membuat IVF ni tidaklah mereka 100% kejayaan selepas membuat rawatan IVF ni, tetapi kemungkinan untuk berjaya tu ada.
Okay, apa yang saya tahu tentang IVF ni, IVF ialah cara pembenihan diambil daripada ovum seorang wanita dan telur seorang lelaki, dan dia fertilize in satu apa panggil itu petri dish kan, sedap. And then diorang senyawakan balik masuk dalam rahim seorang perempuan.
IVF ni telur lelaki dan perempuan disenyawakan secara manual melalui tabung uji. Nanti embryo yang dah dihasilkan tu akan dimasukkan ke dalam rahim wanita.
IVF ini ialah proses di mana persenyawaan dilakukan di dalam lab, di mana ovum wanita akan disuntik keluar daripada ovari mereka dan sperma akan didapati daripada lelaki dan akan disenyawakan di dalam petri dish, di dalam makmal. Rasa wajar bagi ibu-ibu yang mengalami komplikasi untuk mengandung untuk menjalani rawatan IVF ni, sebab semua wanita ingin merasai pengalaman hamil kan, tapi kenalah ikut hukum dan syariat Islam.
Jika pasangan tu terlalu lama mencuba untuk dapatkan anak tapi tak berjaya, wajarlah untuk diorang lakukan IVF ni. Sebab setiap pasangan mesti ingin mempunyai anak kan, untuk menyambungkan nasab-nasab. Wajarlah untuk suami isteri tu buat, sebab tak semua pasangan suami isteri dikurniakan anak. So ni salah satu cara untuk dia buatlah untuk dapatkan anak.
IVF ni wajarlah untuk bagi peluang kepada wanita-wanita di sana yang tak boleh hamil tetapi untuk merasai pengalaman hamil tu.
Wajarlah untuk pasangan yang betul-betul nak dapatkan anak dan telah menunggu bertahun-tahun lama lah. Cumanya pada pandangan masyarakat Malaysia, yang majoritinya agama Islam. Bagi saya, ianya akan dipandang serong lah oleh masyarakat Malaysia sebab mungkin metod ni tak banyak sangat digunakan di Malaysia. Mungkin sebab ianya diperkenalkan oleh Barat sendirilah. So benda ni mula-mula bertentangan dengan syariat Islam lah. Lepas tu lepas dah dikaji, kita ikut fatwa Islam, akhirnya bolehlah melakukan IVF, cuma kena ikut hukum lah dengan cara-cara dia.
Bagi saya IVF memang wajar dilakukan untuk pasangan yang cuba untuk dapatkan anak. Sebab itulah orang cakap kalau nak satu benda kena usaha kan. So IVF tu salah satu cara untuk pasangan tu dapatkan anak. Walaupun cara tu memang bukan menyakitkan. Ambil masa yang lama dan boleh dapat tanggapan yang buruk daripada orang luar. Tapi itulah sahaja cara nak dapatkan anak.
In 1978, Louise Brown became the world's first baby to be born by in vitro fertilization, or IVF. Her birth revolutionized the field of reproductive medicine. Given that approximately 1 in 8 heterosexual couples has difficulty conceiving, and that homosexual couples and single parents often need clinical help to make a baby, the demand for IVF has been growing. IVF is so common that more than 5 million babies have been born through this technology. IVF works by mimicking the brilliant design of sexual reproduction. In order to understand IVF, we first need to take a look at the natural process of baby making. Believe it or not, it all starts in the brain. Roughly 15 days before fertilization can happen, the anterior pituitary gland secretes follicle-stimulating hormone, FSH, which ripens a handful of follicles of the ovary that then release estrogen. Each follicle contains 1 egg, and on average, only 1 follicle becomes fully mature. As it grows and continues to release estrogen, this hormone not only helps coordinate growth and preparation of the uterus, it also communicates to the brain how well the follicle is developing. When the estrogen level is high enough, the anterior pituitary releases a surge of luteinizing hormone, LH, which triggers ovulation and causes the follicle to rupture and release the egg. Once the egg leaves the ovary, it is directed into the fallopian tube by the finger-like fimbriae. If the egg is not fertilized by sperm within 24 hours, the unfertilized egg will die, and the entire system will reset itself, preparing to create a new egg and uterine lining the following month. The egg is the largest cell in the body and is protected by a thick extracellular shell of sugar and protein called the zona pellucida. The zona thwarts the entry and fusion of more than 1 sperm, the smallest cell in the body. It takes a man 2 to 3 months to make sperm, and the process constantly renews. Each ejaculation during sexual intercourse releases more than 100 million sperm, but only 100 or so will ultimately make it to the proximity of the egg, and only 1 will successfully penetrate through the armor of the zona pellucida. Upon successful fertilization, the zygote immediately begins developing into an embryo and takes about 3 days to reach the uterus. There, it requires another 3 or so days to implant firmly into the endometrium, the inner lining of the uterus. Once implanted, the cells that are to become the placenta secrete a hormone that signals to the ovulated follicle that there is a pregnancy in the uterus. This helps rescue that follicle, now called the corpus luteum, from degenerating as it normally would do in that stage of the menstrual cycle. The corpus luteum is responsible for producing the progesterone required to maintain the pregnancy until 6 to 7 weeks of gestation, when the placenta develops and takes over until the baby is born approximately 40 weeks later. Now, how do you make a baby in a lab? In patients undergoing IVF, FSH is administered at levels that are higher than naturally occurring to cause a controlled overstimulation of the ovaries so that they ultimately produce multiple eggs. The eggs are then retrieved just before ovulation would occur, while the woman is under anesthesia through an aspirating needle that is guided by ultrasound. Most sperm samples are produced by masturbation. In the laboratory, the identified eggs are stripped of surrounding cells and prepared for fertilization in a petri dish. Fertilization can occur by one of two techniques. In the first, the eggs are incubated with thousands of sperm, and fertilization occurs naturally over a few hours. The second technique maximizes certainty of fertilization by using a needle to place a single sperm inside the egg. This is particularly useful when there is a problem with the quality of the sperm. After fertilization, embryos can be further screened for genetic suitability, frozen for later attempted pregnancies, or delivered into the woman's uterus via catheter. Common convention is to transfer the embryo 3 days after fertilization, when the embryo has 8 cells, or on day 5, when the embryo is called a blastocyst and has hundreds of cells. If the woman's eggs are of poor quality due to age or toxic exposures or have been removed due to cancer, donor eggs may be used. In the case that the intended mother has a problematic uterus or lacks one, another woman, called a gestational carrier or surrogate, can use her uterus to carry the pregnancy. To increase the odds of success, which are as high as 40% for a woman younger than 35, doctors sometimes transfer multiple embryos at once, which is why IVF results in twins and triplets more often than natural pregnancies. However, most clinics seek to minimize the chances of multiple pregnancies, as they are riskier for mothers and babies. Millions of babies, like Louise Brown, have been born from IVF and have had normal, healthy lives. The long-term health consequences of ovarian stimulation with IVF medicines are less clear, though so far, IVF seems safe for women. Because of better genetic testing, delayed childbearing, increased accessibility, and diminishing costs, it's not inconceivable that artificial baby-making via IVF and related techniques could outpace natural reproduction in years to come.
Selepas tengok video ni, saya baru tahu IVF tu apa. So, tak jadi masalah untuk pasangan suami isteri yang dah lama tak mempunyai anak untuk melakukan IVF ni untuk mempunyai zuriat. Itu saja.